Well, it's only 6 verses, but man, so much meaning in it. And today we come to verse 6 at the very end, and we're going to ask ourselves a question. And here's the question. Do you know the answer to the test? Okay. Now, here's verse 6. I'm reading out the New International Version. Surely goodness and love will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Okay, we're going to come back to it in a second. You know, we talk about testing. There's a lot of wordings about testing going on right now, especially with COVID. Okay, have any of you had the COVID test? Okay, some of you have had the COVID test. And I always think it's interesting how, because I got tested positive, okay, I've measured and kind of from here to here, it's about that far, but yet I think what they put up there was like this big. So I'm still trying to figure out how that got up there and what all happened, but that's a crazy kind of test. But when we think about testing, if you remember in schooling, there's kind of 2 different emotions when it comes to testing. One is you got the test and all of a sudden you realized, I have no idea what the answer is. And that's almost a terrifying, thought process. Like I don't even have a clue what the test is. The opposite though, is when you get the test, you look at it, you realize, I got this. I know every answer. There's a whole different type of emotion, right? Exactly. Well, the reality is this. Can we agree? Life is a test. It is. And how we answer the test, the quiz, determines the grade in life and everything that we do. In fact, there's a book out by Stephen Covey called 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And it says that most people who are successful, they always start with the end in mind. They always know what the end is first, because when you know what the end is, the rest of it makes sense. In fact, one of the reasons I love the Bible is because the Bible is such a great bookend. It starts in Genesis with God's creation, unbelievable creation, and then it ends in Revelation with his recreation, even better, that we're going to live forever. It's bookended, and how the end is a key to everything in the middle. And it's the same with Psalm 23. You said it, Mark. We start off with, the Lord is my shepherd. I have everything that I need. And then it bookends at the very end that I will dwell in the house of the Lord. How long? Forever. Now, in between are some great verses. And if you glance at them, there's some great stuff in there. It says, man, what you talked about, Stephen, the fact that there's quiet waters, there's green pastures. He leads me. Even though I walk through the valley of shadow of death, no evil. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. I have a table, a feast before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows. All the things we've been talking about, we go, yeah, baby, that's where I want to be. I want to dwell in the house of the Lord forever, absolutely. But what happens when that middle stuff isn't all there? When the grass isn't green? When the waters aren't quiet? When it's not a feast? When there is not the good things happening? Make sense? Do we still know the answer to the test in that way? And so I want to look at a verse. It's a great verse in James. It says this: consider it all joy, brothers and sisters, when you encounter various trials, knowing that the testing of your faith produces endurance. Life is a test, and we're going to be tested. The question is, do you know the answer to the test? Because David did. And he's going to give it to us, and it's a key. When we talk about dwelling in the house of the Lord forever, that's not something that David just talked about one time. He talked about multiple times. Here, give you a couple examples in there. Psalm 26:8, he says this: O Lord, I love the habitation of your house and the place where your glory dwells. Have you ever been to a place that you never wanted to leave? It was so good. The moment was so good, the atmosphere, the location, the people, whatever, and you didn't want it to leave. I want to just dwell there. I want to stay there. That's what he's talking about. Psalm 84, he says it in a different way, and I love this. He says, how lovely is your dwelling place, O Lord of hosts. My soul longs, yes, it even faints for the courts of the Lord. My heart and my flesh sing to joy for the living God. And then he says this: blessed are those who dwell in your house. Could we agree David had some great times in his life? Killed Goliath, great victories. A man, king, anointed. I mean, so many things. Can we also agree David had some really hard times in his life? And so he doesn't say, man, I'll dwell in the house of the Lord when it's good. He says, I'm going to dwell in the house often, forever, good or bad. And that's the key to the test.